Malcolm, where'd you hear about it? Why does it work?
I heard about it from Dr. Eric Serrano at Summer Strong this past year, and he was basically using it to prove a point that the toes dictate what the hamstring does. So when the toes are flexed away from the athlete, the load is placed on the hamstring more, and the more fatigued she started to become, we saw her toes start to kind of creep back towards being in dorsiflexion. So it was an isometric hold that he used to really stress the hamstring.
Thank you to Malcolm Majeski. This is why these are all the 10%ers in my life, because 90% of what we do, Matt's not going to change my mind, Louie's not going to change my mind, Ryan's not going to change my mind, Jance is not going to change my mind. If I change my mind on the 90% that I believe to be true, that's me driving like this all over the road. Oh, we're going to try one set to failure. Right? How'd that work out for Michigan football? Right? That was their strength and conditioning program. Hit one set to failure all year round. No, we're going to do this. No, we're going to do that. And you do that, you're going to make your kids car sick. Okay? You have to have something foundational. Then you can take things like this, and my favorite way of integrating things like this is put them into a circuit. They don't have to become the major prime movers of your program. Another one that we did in circuit that my kids are begging me to bring back in, suitcase deadlifts. Okay? Suitcase deadlifts. Go ahead.
For suitcase deadlifts, if you have farmer's walk handles, these are way easier. Alex is going to do 5 reps on his right, and then Jake's going to do 5 reps on his left. Just grab the bar.
It's just 135 pounds.
Job is to go straight down. Do the same thing. Obviously, the athlete has to find a balance here early on. So, and then Jake would just hop over the bar, Alex would hop over the bar, and they're going to start working the other side.
Anybody done suitcase deadlifts before? Raise your hand. They're not that easy at all. They really tax the posterior chain. So there's no point in my programming where my A exercise, my prime mover for the day, whatever you put first, when you start working in your prime movers, is going to be what you're going to focus on. Suitcase deadlift is never going to be a thing where we're going to be doing this like, okay, here we go, come on now, it's 365. And like, I'm just asking that athlete to blow his back out in a side movement. But boy, oh boy, did they walk in the next day after we added those to our circuit and they're like, Coach, holy smokes, I've done side bends, I've done plate twists. Never have I found something that works that oblique and that glute like suitcase deadlifts does. It's easier for the athlete than standing over the bar in a regular deadlift to just go down like they're picking up their suitcase and walking through the airport. So that's another one that I wanted to show you. In terms of upper body, we've got one called right here. So we press during fall conditioning, but never bench press. Okay? So the first one's going to be what we call a football bar. Go ahead. It's a 3-inch bar.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up. We're just going to do a triple for today, but this is our time under tension movement. And when we do not so many reps, we'll do 60 seconds of time under tension.
So those are 2 pressing movements that we do in the fall because, look, when it's time to throw far, we're going to bench. And when it's time to throw far, we're going to do inclines. But in the fall, man, we don't touch bench the first 4 weeks unless you call that benching. We do fat bar, we do eccentric work, we do 60-second time under tensions. We put that football bar in a circuit where the kids will go 30 seconds. I'll do 30 seconds. Brandon's my partner. We get 5 seconds, the whistle blows again, Brandon does 30 seconds, we got 15 seconds to get to the next station, and anybody know who Dr. Fred Hatfield is? Right, Dr. Hatfield invented the PHA system. Anybody know what PHA stands for? Peripheral heart action. Dr. Hatfield said, put your circuits in order that you make the blood go peripherally across the heart as many times as you can. And you will increase your VO2 max, you will increase everything that you do. So you don't want to do calf raises and then leg press. You want to do calf raises and then shoulder press and then leg press and then arm curl and just keep passing peripherally that blood barrier. So that's one of the things that we do. And then the last one, which was actually in a program, this is one of the few exercises that was in a program. Before we blew our bench maxes out of the window, I decided to actually program these. These are called Serrano bench press. So again, this is Lindsay.
Serrano dumbbell press. You know, hold the band down deep into a mat. You're going to do a set of 8 here. This is with a 50-pound dumbbell. And of course, you did a last bench max. You did a 70-pound.
So this is a 50-pound dumbbell. She's pulling a strong band down into her lap. Dr. Serrano told me, and he's way smarter than I am, that if you pull that band down into your lap, you will increase your pressing power. I didn't know if I was going to believe it until Lindsay, who barely had about a 190-pound bench after coming in with a 140 bench out of high school. Last year we got to 180. And then over the summer before World Juniors, we got to 190. At the end of this program, she did a 70-pound dumbbell with one arm for 5 reps like it was nothing. I sent it to Dr. Serrano, and he was like, holy fuck. Right? I said, Doc, it worked. Because in the next program, she blew 215 up like it was nobody's business. So that's one of the exercises I did program. So I wanted to at least give you an idea of how I do actually program. Liz, come on up. Thanks to Malcolm Majeski, every one of our programs, whether it starts with lower body or an upper body, has what I guess Malcolm calls them prehabs, warm-ups, prehabs, but he's given me a whole list of them. So one of the things our kids will do, and if you want to see kids get in the weight room, you want to see a smile on their face, partner them up for partner-assisted handstands. So she's going to face me, and she's going to come on up. I'm going to catch her, hold her for 5 seconds, let her go back down. She's going to come up again. Come on. I'm going to walk into them. I'm going to make sure that she doesn't hurt herself, and this is how we warm our shoulders up, okay? By the end of the program, I expect them to be able to do their own. Okay, trust me, go on now. When we first started doing those, could you even come close to that? No. So, Malcolm's like, put partner-assisted handstands in. 5 sets of 5. 5 sets of 5. Only in the 3rd week, let them try to do it by themselves. Okay, so that's our shoulder warm-up. So thank you, Malcolm. The next thing we do is we do work capacity incline bench. It's in your paper. 5 sets of 20. So we do 25 handstands and 100 bench presses before we ever, or incline bench, before we ever start our bench press. Okay? Does that make sense, Matt?
Yes.
Some handstands, warm up the shoulders. 100 reps, just like you told me. Year before, I didn't buy in all the way, I'm sorry.
Hey, it's okay.
We did it, but I was chicken shit. I think what we do, Meg, 3 sets of 20 or a couple sets of 50. I was like, we're going to do winning volume, but not all of it. And this year, after what I saw last year and the lack of injuries that we had, as a team, I decided to go full on. So, yes?
What kind of percentages of weight are you using for the
So, I think, Lindsay, you guys started with the 20s, like the first week, and by the end of the program, she's using 50s for all 5 sets of her 20s. The guys start with the 35 center mass bells, and by the end they were using 70s. I don't know if you got the 50s on incline, probably 35s on incline, 50 on flat bench.
It's gotta be a slow progression. You can't take that in there and kick the shit out of yourself.
Yeah, so like I said, the girls started with 20s. We got a winter break program. Matt, I don't even know. Don't tell me if I'm wrong, because it's already out there. The kids are already starting it. Our new 5 sets of 20 on our winter break program, and they must think I'm a total asshole because I watched them. 5 sets of 20 on standing military press. Right here, 5 sets of 20 with no legs. Okay, I don't know if you do any overhead pressing in your volume. Don't tell me, because we're doing it, and the girls are getting crushed by the bar. And the guys start doing 85 pounds.
Start off with having to do with that PVC pipe and hanging weights for more stability versus weight. Like, make it like 5s.
Right.
You'll go up 2.5 every week, but then you'll get all that stability out of it without the shoulder wear of that.
Got it.
straight bar. That means something you try.
All right. So then we went into our bench program. So if you look on the bench, it says wristbanded bench because I got those hip circles. I paid money for them. I wanted to use them in a different way, so we put them around our wrists. And so that had most of our benchers there, and they're like, Coach, I can't bench from here. I go, I know. Pull the band out. So who says pull the band out? That's Louis. Tear the bar apart. So we did this bench cycle with hip circles on our wrists. So they had to tear their grip out till they got on the bar. Then they were locked in. So we did that entire cycle of bench with bands. And then another Mount Wenning, we did back work. Basically, it's in there what we did. It's your second page. It's a worksheet. Basically, the winning principle that we're following is however many reps you do presses, do double the amount in back work. And so we try to keep the assistance exercises going, and then decline bench with rolling dumbbell triceps. First exercise Louis Simmons showed me in 1985 when I went to visit him. I'm like, I'm pretty good bench, but I'm really weak in the triceps. He goes, okay, get this flat bench, put a 20K bumper there. See how you're inclined back like that? Now take dumbbells, and I want you to let this arm stretch back here, and I want you, as you pull forward, squeeze your lats out as hard as you can and roll into it. So he goes, the bench is a row, it's not a press. You still believe that? All right, Louis, yeah. So Louis believed that the bench press was nothing but a big old row. So he got me to row those rolling dumbbell triceps, and my bench went from 420 to 478. So for me, it worked. So we're going to do decline bench, rolling triceps. This is on Monday, and then on Thursday, we're going to come in. Thank you, Malcolm. We're going to do a banded 3-way warm-up. The kids will stand on their red band, and their first movement is up to parallel, down. Second movement is up to parallel, out. Third movement is back down to here, up above their head, tear out to a snatch, back to here, and down. Okay? So that is banded 3-way shoulder warm-up. Do some flat bench flies. We didn't do volume on this day, we did volume on the first day. So we went A1, A2 with banded 3-way shoulders, flat bench flies, incline dumbbell press with rotation, back work. I remember watching one of Ryan's Viper pits a long time ago, and he was doing a session on blowing up. Who's your guy on your shirt with the guns?
Which shirt with the guns? I have too many.
You do have too many. It was one of them. Maybe it was Hamel guns or what Alexander Hamel guns. But he was giving a nice. Actually, this wasn't yours. Yours was seated Zottman, and this came. Charles loved seated hammer curls for the radial brachialis. And then Anthony Bland, you're getting in this conversation, he came into the B. Malcolm's assistant, and he was a badass power lifter, and I saw him in there with the band doing 100-rep tricep push downs with the band. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, oh, just finishing the triceps off, getting a lot of blood down in there, getting a little volume in there. I feel it makes my elbows feel amazing. So I put those in there, I think 3 sets of 33. So we did 99s there. And then we did center mass. This is the next program. 4 weeks, so we did fall conditioning for 4 weeks where we had lots of circuit work, lots of stability, lots of hypertrophy, a lot of base work. Into our first strength program. Then we went into this one. Matt talked about doing planks at the beginning of the workout. We did plank pull-throughs, work capacity decline bench. Brandon Lilly came and visited with us. He's like, Coach, have you ever done isometric narrow inclines? And I'm like, no, why? He goes, in all my years of powerlifting, isometric narrow inclines are what drove my bench through the roof. I go, well, explain it to me. He goes, just, everybody wants to incline here. Come on in here, narrow, shoulder width grip. He goes, come on down to your chest, press an inch, hold it for a, what were we, 3-second isometric hold? Yeah, 3-second isometric hold, and then press without going back down. That's a hard exercise. We did those, and the kids started talking about this was the hardest exercise they'd ever had to do because they had to stop at 1 inch above their chest, and everybody wanted to go down before they went up. Okay? Isometric work, back work, double the reps, Lenning tricep inclines. Get on the tricep, bring the dumbbells down like this, and at the top of the movement, rotate the hands. Okay? So he's got that video. You've got so many videos, but he's got that video on his page. We did cobras, which is a poliquin exercise where you're taking a dumbbell here and you're bringing the arm out before you externally rotate it up and back into the strike of a cobra. Okay, so that's just a rotator cuff movement right there. We put in Louis' floor presses. We did more back work. We did the Serrano bench. We did Ryan's pairing of seated Zottmans with seated French press. And at the end of that program, at the end of this fall conditioning, we did a 5-rep max with our kids. You can flip that. We did a 5-rep max, and everybody got an estimated bench max. They're on your sheets. If you look on your sheets, you'll see people's names. For example, Lindsay's 5-rep max predicted her bench max was at 182. So all that first program that I showed you, she did her sets and reps like her bench max was 182. At the end of both programs I just showed you, with all of that volume and all of those handstands and all of those hundreds, Lindsay benched 215. John went from 174 to 200, Carol 136 to 150 on the low end. Lizzie went from 155 to 165. Malcolm had sent me a football player whose bench max was 415, but on the 5-rep max he only showed he was in shape to do 360. 8 weeks later he did 460. That was Logan Vandermark. Nick Zach went from 329 to 365. Alex Hill, 315 was his estimated max, but last year 310 was his PR. Went from 315, made 350 a couple weeks ago. Brett Fairbanks, 305 to 365. His old PR was 340. Jake Glass, 295 to 345. First time ever over 315 in his life. I had a freshman go from 280 to 300. And then Jim Toth, the big, tall, 6'4" guy, he had the lowest improvement. He went from 305 to 315. We had an average improvement during those 2 blocks that I just talked about of over 33 pounds per kid. So, where's the magic? The magic is not so much this. The magic is what happened here during that 4 weeks. Biggest advice that I can give you, and it was already talked about, it was already stolen. Let me see how I said it in my notes. Create an environment before sets and reps. Before you ever think about where's the best sets, where's the best rep program, create an environment that makes your conditioning look like a boot camp. Make it hard, but be smart. We go 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 15 seconds to get to the next station. So if Brandon does 30 seconds of goblet squats, count my rest for me. He's got 5 seconds before I go. Now I go and I go 30 seconds. Now I've got 15 seconds to get to the next station. How much rest? Who's counting for me? Brandon went and he did 30 seconds. Okay? He finishes. It's 5 seconds until I go. Start there. 5. Then I go for 30 seconds. What are we at? 35. Then we get 15 seconds to get to the next station. Now what are we at? 50. So we're working 30 seconds work, 50 seconds rest. 30 seconds work, 50 seconds rest. 10 to 12 different stations. 3-minute break. Through it again. Through it again. I've been doing that for 25 years. That's why it made me smile when Matt said what his workout was, how you did those 4 exercises for 4 rounds in 14 minutes. So this is where the strength happened with all of those bands and all of those unilateral movements that we did. This, like Derek Woodsky once said about me, yeah, you might have a couple of things out of order. But if people only understood what happened here, they would realize that this doesn't really give a shit, right? There may be better science in terms of programming, but I'm still learning. I'm still micro-adjusting. I'm still finding a way for us to be more like Matt. But we're not a Matt Lenning program. We're just trying to steal the very best parts of you, Matt. Ryan, I'm trying to steal the very best parts. Jance, I'm trying to steal the very best parts. Malcolm, I've already stolen the very best parts. Anthony, I'm trying to steal the very best parts. Andrew Durniat, I'm trying to steal the very best parts. All of you are in this. And like I said on the podcast, my only job is that I run a 3-ring circus, and I'm the ringmaster. And I want people to leave every workout in our program feeling like they just saw the movie The Greatest Showman. That's the Ashland secret. That's the secret sauce. That's the magic. Sorry if I disappointed you in this, but without this, and without our energy, and without our team, and without, what did Brandon Lilly say on the podcast? He's never seen a weight room like ours. When he walked in, like he'd been everywhere, he says, I've never seen it. Do you know who I think has, I don't even want to say the second best weight training program in the country in terms of the environment that they've created, but it's also very funny to me that they're both Division II programs. Tiffin, amazing. If you guys follow Ray and you watch their weight room, they're not 1 and 2, we're 1A and 1B. Is there anybody even a little bit surprised that we have the 2 best throws programs in the country? Shouldn't be. We create environments ahead of sets and reps. If you get the beauty of sets and reps, that's awesome. But create the environment first, and then take all the stuff that you want to try and throw it up against the wall in the fall and put it in a circuit. And if you find something you really think is special, like the Serrano dumbbell bench, then go ahead and program it. If it's a suitcase deadlift, I'd rather see you keep the weight light and get the range of motion. Time.
Yeah, whatever you want to be done.
Questions? Yep, Jess.
So we talk a lot about your warm up here, going into event or something like that. Do you feel with the way that our program was when you were right now, do you feel like you do less auxiliaries after since you're putting a lot of those notions in warm ups, or do you still doing auxiliaries?
We're doing way less auxiliaries because we're putting it all into the prehab and the work capacity. This is what I found about Matt's volume. I don't know if it was you said it, Matt, or somebody else said it about you. You can take that stuff and put it at the end and still get something out of it, but the chances of your kids being into it is very low.
And you're still working at a time constraint. You want to be done in 50 to 60 minutes, so you put a lot of that stuff in the front, you don't have enough time in the back, but it actually potentiates the main movement that you want to do in the middle. That's the whole point.
That's the biggest thing, is we're selling on potentiation. Yes?
So if you're doing that, off of what Jess said, Do you find that like the main bench or whatever is less efficient, less explosive?
I thought it was gonna be,
That's what I'm nervous about.
well,
Well, what was it
no.
like week
Maybe
one?
in week one, it didn't matter, because we were doing such high reps at such a low percentage that they're gonna be gassed anyways. By week 2, the buy-in was real. By week 3, they're like, Coach, do not take that volume out. Do not take that volume out. Yes?
As a college track coach, what is one thing that you would like to see freshman athletes coming in to you having better, whether it's like core work or deficits that they have that you would like to see change at the high school level across the board overall? Like
Wow, that's a tough question. It's a great question. I don't know. I pride myself so much in the molding of, like, I'd rather see less bad habits in people who've never Olympic lift before than kids that have come in that have been Olympic lifting forever, and then I have to change everything. Okay, so I guess what I'm looking for is the more of the rounded athlete. Lindsay, how many varsity letters did you have? 14 varsity letters, okay? That's a kid that's not devoting their life to track and field only 365 days a year. So I'm looking for the kids that don't narrow that focus till maybe their senior year. And then before they do that, I want to know what else they did. I want to know if they played football, I want to know if they played volleyball. I know that you guys just heard, if you listen to Flow Track, what'd you learn about Miles Pringle? He grew up figure skating, ballet dancing, and classical dancing. Okay, so the more variety that an athlete can have in their resume makes them way more recruitable to me than that kid that's only been doing that one sport for 4 years. Yep, anybody else? Yep,
This is all upper.
this is all upper.
Does the lower look very similar?
Well, the lower, like I said, might be goblet squats. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it was. Second block, first block was definitely 5 sets of 20 goblet squats. And then we did vert trainer. Who's the big guy that invented the vert trainer out in Vegas? Dirty.
I can't remember.
Yeah, anyways, it's a thing that blocks your calves and gets you in the perfect RDL position. And we did dumbbell swings with the vert trainer for 5 sets of 20 in one of our low programs. So anything that works for the lower, anything that works posterior chain and sets correct movements. I mean, I just read one study that literally the 2-arm dumbbell swing, hinged dumbbell swing is one of the best exercises that any athlete can do as any kind of precursor for any movement is a properly done hinged dumbbell swing. Yep.
So how would you change really the time to like a high school level? Like our whole season's 12 weeks.
Right.
So like,
I just spoke in Atlantic City last week, and I don't want to be a high school coach. Ever. I have so much respect for you guys. I did it for a year. I was terrible at it. I could not believe that nobody wanted to be awesome. And that when I turned around, that half the team was gone. And that they, like, all they did was want to laugh and giggle and do all this. And I'm like, I told my wife, I can't do this. These kids are nothing like me. Right? And she goes, exactly. You were once that kid. But then when I came to Ashland my first year, everybody was different and everyone was like, sir, yes, sir. Okay, I'm here because I want to be here. God, I don't know the answer to your question because I suck so bad as a high school coach. All I can tell you is that work capacity is important. And that if you will front load work capacity, you can do work capacity and strength training at the same time. You may not be able to do work capacity and power development through peaking at the same time, but I would take the first 6 months of the season using Ryan's model. Don't be afraid to dip down a little bit as long as it means you're coming up to the big check mark. You do that one time and you get those kind of results or similar results, you're going to get buy-in. When you get buy-in, you have credibility. Yep.
Are your throwers throwing skill set wise, like throwing the discus, throwing the shot put?
Yeah, so in the fall, there's only so many hours that we're allowed to do. So we might do a 30-minute learn to turn with the hammer, or we might do med ball shot put work. The center mass bell, what time is it actually?
440.
Okay. Lindsay, come up real quick. Grab the 2 center mass bells. Quickly. All right. So with these, this took the place of a lot of our throwing in the fall, because what we could do is everybody had a partner. And so if I was Lindsay's partner, I just did this exercise and I would tell her 2 bell swings, 2 bell hinge swings. Just do 5 reps. Bend the knees, 2 bell hinge swings. They would do that for 30 seconds. Then I would go and I would say overhead single bells, which is just a snatch. Right? 2, 3. And then we went to front row singles. So they would take it like that, and she would jump out plyometrically as far as she can and throw that bell. Weak side finishes, so if she normally finishes the hammer and the shot put this way, we're going to do a lot of work. Well, she'll grab that center mass bell, put it back on her left shoulder, go to your weak, and then throw opposite to the right. And then she would literally throw that bell as far as she can. Then we did the pipe bands. 2 arms swing back lunge. So again, that same motion, but as those come back, we're going to step back into a swing back lunge. Magic 3, which is basically just taking that bell and going across the body in a rotational plane, side to side, and then taking it up low point, high point. And then the final one was just hammer finishes, which go straight off the hip in both directions. We call those the Magic 3. So we try to get a lot of our fall throwing volume with medicine balls, with kettlebells, with center mass bells, and then the other days we would just work on technique and drill work with no implements at all. That's the first month. Now that only works if your kids throw in the summer. If your kids don't throw in the summer and they come back and they're all revved up and you don't give them any throwing during that 4 weeks, they're going to be way behind. But our kids throw in the summer. Last question. Yes?
You've been doing this for so long, I'm sure you've collected exercises and routines that are just magical, but you're trying to also figure out, always changing that 10%. How do you decide what stays, what goes? And is there one thing that you have brought back more than others just because it works so well?
So what I do at the end of every year is I do an analysis of our results and our injuries. Okay? If our injuries are high, I've got to reverse engineer and figure out what the hell happened this year. Okay? I'm not perfect like any coach. I've had years where we had 2 or 3 kids injured. I've had years